Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chasing a Murderer. Today we are on part 128 of Life Beyond the Grave, which is attached to the Doomsday Mom, Lori Vallow. Charles Vallow has been shot July 2019 by Alex Cox, planned with his sister Lori Vallow. Since the very beginning of July 1st, 2019, Lori and Chad have more burner phones. One of those burner phones were used to call Charles' mortuary right after Charles had passed away. The same burner phone was actually used to send Chad Daybell birthday kisses all over. Also, we will learn that Lori refers to Chad Daybell as Bubby and Bishop Shumway. A lot of people were probably wondering, where does this Bishop Shumway come from? We'll go over that later. But it's really interesting how Lori Vallow has these bizarre and cute names for Chad with each little burner phone that she has. I mean, they each have their own little name. So after Charles Vallow has passed away and they're trying to find out, what is going on with these memorials, the funeral, which is very difficult. We're finding out that Kay Woodcock is having to put together, or at least try to put together, a memorial for her brother Charles. But Lori Vallow is making that difficult. She's making it impossible for Kay and Charles' ex-wife and his sons to include JJ for this memorial. It just seems that Lori's making it impossible for anyone to inquire about Charles or to have anything to do with Charles. We had learned that Adam and Zac Cox, especially Adam, were only a few of the people trying to support Charles in some ways. They claimed that they were trying to do an intervention to help get Lori the help that Charles believes Lori needed. Before Charles was shot, Adam said that Charles actually was trying to get Lori's temple recommend taken away, thinking that maybe this might snap her out of this craziness that she's going through. There's no doubt in my mind that Adam and Zac Cox must have been very confused during these times, and the way that they found out that Charles Vallow had passed away was surprising, shocking, and just unbelievable that none of their family members had actually called them to tell them that something happened to Charles. Zac Cox does an interview with Justin Lum, investigative reporter for Fox News. And I want to play a big portion of that clip to let you see exactly how Zac and Adam felt during this time.
Zac Cox, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I've never gone to talk to you on the record, but we've always been in touch. And just so people know, Zac, you are Lori Vallow's nephew.
Correct. Yep, I am Adam Cox's son. Charles has been dead for basically 24 hours, and we still don't know. No one told us, texted us. They all knew because they were going through Charles's phone and saw that me and my dad were texting with, and Brandon were texting with Charles, the family, the Cox family. So Friday comes, we go visit with second cousins. I get off work, go to sleep that night. Texted Colby if he wanted to go play basketball, no response. Obviously, we texted Al if he wanted to go to the comedy club to go do something, no response. So no one's responding to us, no one's talking to us. Saturday comes and we drive up to Tucson to see my dad's friend, to visit with him. And while we're driving up there, we were seriously like, did they do something to Charles? Because we haven't heard from him in 2 days. Calls, texts, and I mean, he was always on his phone. He would at least respond. So we get there and we start talking to my dad's friend in Tucson, and we're like, man, we haven't heard from Charles. Like, Lori and Al have been super crazy. And at this point, me and Lori have zero relationship. She had said some more rumors about me that she had spread to the family and to Melanie, Brandon's ex-wife, because at this point I was living with Brandon and Melanie. So I experienced the same thing with their marriage, again. And it's just a mess. So
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And I'm sorry if I go off on tangents.
No, you're not. I've never heard your perspective this way, because you're in this basically the front row seat, seeing everybody, right? And this is July 12th, July 13th by the time you haven't heard about Charles, because he was killed July 11th, and then you find out everything, and you know it's got to be hard knowing that's your uncle. But did you believe it was self-defense?
So so he gets killed July 11th. I'm looking at the calendar here for 2019 July. Gets killed the 11th in the morning. It's July 13th, Saturday afternoon. We're in Tucson. And we're telling my dad's friend, like, we think Lori and Al might have done something, because it's just so weird that we haven't heard from him and how crazy they've been. And my dad's friend goes, well, how do you spell his name? I want to look him up, like, on social media or online to see what it looks like. So he Googles Charles Vallow, and all these news reports pop up. Texas man fatally shot and killed by brother-in-law. And when he said that, he read that out loud. And, like, I get goosebumps still talking about it, but, like, my heart dropped. And we pulled up the article, and, I mean, instantly reading it, saying that it was self-defense, and Charles hit Al with a baseball bat. I mean, if Charles really hit Al with a baseball bat, Al would be dead. I mean, Al would be seriously injured, not able to shoot a gun. He wouldn't have one tiny scratch, on the back of his head.
Yeah. He would be blacked out, knocked out at the least.
At least knocked out, right? Bleeding, needing to go to the hospital. He would. So we called Kay that day, and Kay and Larry, and they were in shock. They had said that no one believed it, really. No one believed the story. I'm trying to remember exactly what we talked about, but, Kay and Larry were on speakerphone. We were on speakerphone, and I was just sitting there with my shirt over my head down. I literally could not believe this had happened. Like, they murdered Charles. There's no doubt about it. So, and then, when you see the footage of the body cam of the police, he's laying there with the bat perfectly next to him, and his flip-flops are still on. I mean, if there was a scuffle, at least, like, to me, flip-flops are coming off if there's a scuffle. I mean, there's just so many things that stuck out to me when I saw that video that didn't add up. And the baseball was placed perfectly, didn't roll around. Like, the baseball bat. It just didn't make sense. Off the rip, we didn't believe it. Lori at this point had told the family that my dad, me, Brandon, Charles were all conspiring against her, trying to get her insurance money, which is what she really was going after with Charles. Like he had said, everything she's doing is what she's accusing him of doing. So hearing the news that she's at least getting, I know Al's dead, but he'd be charged for some of those things. And I wholeheartedly believe, too, that they killed Al. I mean, the timing is insane right after Tammy gets exhumed.
The day after.
That's crazy. But, as far as what was the charge called? Belief to commit?
No, this is a conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, which we've been waiting for Chandler PD to, they said last August, they were close. Whatever close meant, 6 months or so around that time. That was like the time frame. But here we are. April 1st is when they did it, and they waited to announce it now after the grand jury indictment. It's all timed up. So, just how do you feel for Charles?
It's 2 years too late, but I'm glad that it's finally coming. I think the ball was completely dropped when it happened. I think Lori was in that video. There's just so many things that are just so suspicious that I don't know how there was an investigation immediately, or more questions or more belief, because that whole body cam footage, the vibe is off with everybody. And Tylee obviously looked very uncomfortable when they came back. which was unfortunate that they had dragged
She's
her.
the only one that looks very uncomfortable. I mean, Alex, he's holding onto his head. He's saying it's self-defense. Lori's smiling, wide smile. She's laughing. She's having a good time, or, friendly, not showing any concern or sadness, knowing that her husband, even though estranged, has just been shot.
And different stories too.
I don't know if anyone's asked, what did Tylee have to say about this?
The last time that I saw Tylee was that Saturday we found out Charles was killed. We drove back to Tucson, back from Tucson to Phoenix to my grandparents' house. And Tylee was there, and we get in there, and this is really where everything happens with our family, where we get into a huge fight with our grandparents. My dad gets in a fight with his parents. I get in a fight with them, and they kick us out, and we moved to Kansas. Or I moved back to Kansas with my parents. One, because we were scared of Al and Summer. That night, Al and Lori, because we stayed at Summer's house, and they knew where we were at. We stayed up all night because we were scared they were going to come in there and do something to us, and then flew out the next day. So that last day, that Saturday, we get there, and Tylee's in the kitchen crying to my grandma. And she's hugging her, and Tylee's getting ready to leave. And the thing about Tylee is, if she truly believed, that my dad, Charles, me, and Brandon were conspiring against her mom, she would have said something to us. Tylee was very boisterous when it came to conflict. And she was not, she was walking out because she was leaving as we were getting there. And sorry. She, as she's walking out, she's looking at me, and I can just tell that she wanted to say something to me. Oh, sorry.
Take your time.
I could just tell that she wanted to say something about what happened on Thursday. And she started walking towards me, and my grandma kind of guided her shoulders and walked her out. And that was the last time that I saw Tylee.
And then they moved to Idaho.
Yeah, and at this point, she leaves. And we get in this huge fight with my grandparents about how they think they went through Charles's phone. Lori had Charles's phone after he was killed for a few days, and probably deleted a ton of stuff, saw all our messages talking with Charles. And
what are these messages saying?
Charles wanted my dad to come down to talk with Lori and record what Lori was saying to play to a bishop, because Charles thought if he could get her excommunicated from the church, that she wouldn't be able to go to the temple anymore, which she loved going to the temple, and she'd snap out of it. And obviously no one in the family would help. Lori wasn't talking to me or Charles at this point, avoiding us. So he asked my dad for help, so that's why my dad flew down. So our plan was to, my dad wanted to meet with Lori, record her, and, help Charles out. And they saw these texts that, this whole time I was talking with Charles and going to see him and JJ and whatever the case was. Because at this point, too, Lori had gotten back with Charles and moved to Houston, right? So Lori's been living in Houston with Charles, and then he rents out a place for Tylee and Lori and JJ to be in Phoenix around the family still. And I never knew where this place was. This is where they ended up shooting Charles.
Yeah, Chandler.
Yeah, they never told me they moved back. I found out they moved back from Tylee, just texting me that they're back in Arizona because she had driven out to Arizona by herself.
And so you never talked to Tylee again after you saw her, and you never texted, never called?
The whole family had blocked us on everything.
Oh.
All social media, because they all took Lori's side. No one reached out to me to ask me if I was conspiring against Lori.
You had no idea where they left to?
No idea. No contact with them.
You're in Kansas. Everyone's just split up.
Everyone's split up. Family is destroyed. Like that. And obviously they all sided with Lori. No one asked us anything. Is this true? Are you guys... No one even called to say, are you guys plotting... Because she had said that we were plotting to kill Lori for her insurance money. Me, Charles, Brandon, and my dad.
Did she even have a life insurance policy?
I have no idea. I know that's what she was doing against Charles and Chad eventually with Tammy and all that stuff. But that's really how it ended. I mean,
Zach,
yeah.
I could talk to you for hours. I mean, this is a lot, and I'm just, I'm sorry because all of you in the family are affected somehow. Everyone.
Yep.
Your grandparents, your dad, your aunt, everyone has been impacted somehow. Whether you guys agreed with each other or not, you guys fought.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's been a long journey.
Yeah, it has been, and not just us two. I mean, all of Tylee's friends, JJ's friends, JJ's school. I mean, we went to JJ's school for his birthday to drop off some balloons, and they've got a ribbon on a tree for him and a ribbon on a tree for Tylee, and the teachers just loved him. Like,
there's just a ripple effect.
All these people, and they're so selfish that they didn't think it would matter. I mean, they thought they were doing their own thing.
So there's one step in a direction where, I know she's innocent till proven guilty, but something has been done. I know you said it's a little too late, but still for Charles, Tammy, JJ, Tylee, Brandon's case is still open. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Zach, thank you, man. Thank you for just being brave. I know we've been talking for a while. Thank you for just like speaking about this and opening up. I think that helps in a way too for you to just like get it out there and get out your perspective and your side. It's a lot to deal with that at such a young age. This was like 2 years ago for you. Like you're now a different person too.
Yeah, it's been a really long 2 years and just been tough every day. There was a point too in 2019 where we were talking with Brandon and Kay and Larry. That's kind of how we were hearing updates, and like hearing that Chad Daybell's wife died, that Brandon got shot at, that Al died, Tammy's body's exhumed, and that's when, kind of when things blew up. But every day, we were really scared that Al was going to come kill us. We really were, for like 2 years until we found out he was dead. We were really worried that we were going to be next, because if you look at it, Charles, Brandon, me, and although they didn't have anything to gain from us insurance-wise, but they killed Charles, who was against Lori. They tried to kill Brandon, who was against Lori, and then you got me and my dad, who were against Lori and whatever her case was, whatever she believed, right? She thought we were going to kill her for insurance money. And I think
maybe allegedly you're a dark spirit.
A dark spirit, that too.
Zach, I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it. Yep. Thank you for letting me come chat.
All right. Well, we'll talk soon, man. Take care.
You too. See you, man.
All right.